Hi, everyone. I'm back for another episode of Let's Talk About It with Geanice Morales of Wagner Softball. Janice, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Thank you, Sydney. I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait.
So, this is so fun because you and I have actually recorded a podcast together in the past. We did one in December or January at the AthleteCon Queens Retreat, and we have been waiting to record kind of like the swap and get you on Let's Talk About It. So, we are going to talk about it today. And you are just such a breath of fresh air and always just such a kind and like happy person. Like, I'm always like, oh my gosh, okay, like let me get my attitude better. Like, I feel like Janice just walked in the room, like, let me get like my positive energy. And I feel like you really embody this because you talk so much about positive mindset. You have your podcast is literally positively Shanice. Like it's just such a refreshing thing and such a nice thing to see in sports. And you're so consistent with it that it really does feel like you. So I thought, who better to talk about positive mindset with than you? So really excited to talk about that today. Do you mind just explaining like what is a positive mindset? And, like, what do you mean by that? Because I feel like you've, like, almost, like, trademarked that in a way. You're not saying just, like, to be optimistic. Like, what does it mean?
Right. I think that having a positive mindset is really seeing the outlook that expects the positive outcomes and really focuses on the good in situations and not seeing everything so negatively, even when faced in challenges. So, really, just being able to see the potential for success instead of focusing on failures, for sure.
I love that. That's so good. I feel like that's such, like, a well-adjusted thing to say. Like, that really comes from someone who has, like, gone through some things and have seen some things and has realized, like, "Hey, like, this is how I wanna now live my life, and this is, like, the energy and just, I don't know, the environment that I wanna create for myself and the people around me," and I think that's so amazing. When did you start this? Like, how did you find this? Like, why is it so important to you?
Of course. I love this question because I feel like there's so much lore to my
Yeah.
story.
Tell me more.
So I mean, we can really bring it all the way back. I started playing softball when I was 2 years old, and it was so strange. It's kinda just one of those things that you just feel very connected to. My aunts played softball, my mom was a pitcher. I am not a pitcher, couldn't do what she did. But, I've always fallen in love with the game, like, ever since I was little, even before I was born, my mom's friends gave her a softball because they just knew that I was gonna play. So I've loved softball since I was little and, thankfully I was really good at it. I've always had like a natural ability. And the way that softball recruiting used to be was you could get recruited when you were in 7th grade.
Oh, that was the
So
worst. That was the worst, and, like, okay, not maybe the worst, some people might not agree with that. That was one of the worst NCAA
that was so
rules
bad.
ever happened.
It was so terrible. I mean, the the mental strength that we had to build, I'm sure you could agree with this as well, as middle schoolers, 12, 13 years old, having to decide when I'm gonna go to college, when I'm 18, 5 years down the road. I mean, it was insane. So I think that that definitely took a mental toll on me, especially, having to start my recruiting process in 7th grade. I was getting looked at by bigger D1s because I was doing so good when I was 14 years old, like, okay, like, I'm not gonna grow, and so I think that I was seeing a lot of my friends, um, getting recruited to these bigger universities, A&M, OU, and I kept looking at myself and I'm like, "What am I doing wrong? Like, why am I not getting recruited?" Like, of course I was getting looked at, but, people were already signing in 8th grade. So I felt like I was doing something wrong, and I really put my worth and my value into my sport. And I think that that really affected the way I was playing, and I got into such a negative space mentally to where I would go up to bat and I would see 3 strikes down the middle and I wouldn't even swing and I would strike out 3 times in a row. Like there was just this huge mental block in my head. I would just cry all the time. I mean, there was just so much emotion. So what really helped me is I went to this softball camp and one of the coaches looked at me and she said that I am a great athlete, but she could see internally that I was struggling, with overthinking, with putting so much of my value into the sport because it would affect the way I would play. and she basically said, like, "You're a great athlete, but you really need to get out of your own way." And I thank my parents all the time for being able to pull me out of this headspace, and instead of them getting mad at me if I didn't perform, they were actually able to shift that to being like, "It's okay. That's just one way that you're not gonna succeed, right? We're gonna keep shifting, we're gonna keep adjusting." And once I was able to, shift that mindset to seeing challenges, seeing the good in situations, focusing on the good even in failures, right? What can I learn from this experience? I was able to completely transform my junior year, and I was able to get recruited. That was a huge moment for me because I felt like I really had surpassed this mental barrier that I never thought that I would be able to pass. So
Wow, thank you for sharing all of that. No, really, like
sorry, I know it's long.
no, no, don't even be like, no, that all everything that you said is important to hear because I mean, there's so much of what you said that's there. I think one, just the relatability of like that fear. Like, like we always talk about like fight, flight, or freeze. Like I am a freeze as well. I get so nervous. I feel like I can't move. I don't want to take action, even when I know that it's something that I would succeed in or that I could do, like you were saying, like with the batting, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
at least for me, like, once I forgo that opportunity out of fear, then it gets worse, and then I almost doubt myself to be able to make the next move, and then the next move, and then the next move, and then it's, like, kind of these basic things within my sport or within life sometimes that I just feel like I can't do, right? Like, you just get so overwhelmed, it's like, I can't even answer this text message, I can't go to practice, like, all these different things, and so I think that's really important for you to share, and also just sharing that it happens so young. I feel like a lot of the times people ignore some of, like, that sports related mental health issues in really young athletes because they're like, "You're in middle school, like, what do you have to stress about? What's so important?" Like, "You don't need to worry about this until college or high school," but, like, that's what the middle schoolers are seeing, like, what
Mhm.
our li like, yes, okay, there's more to life, but we don't know that. This is my life. My friends, my school, and my sport are my life, and all of these changes are happening that I don't feel like I can control, and everything is happening for everyone else. How do you not feel like that's on you? Right? So I think that's amazing that you share all of that and you learned a positive mindset from like a positive community. Like you were talking about
Yes.
your parents and how they
Yes.
like taught you to like, learn from mistakes and all of that. Can you talk a little bit about like creating that environment of a positive mindset and like community?
100%. I think that creating a environment for a positive mindset is so important, which is obviously why, on my Instagram and my TikTok, I really try to create that community for other young athletes because I didn't feel like I had that growing up. I felt like, you look at the Division One athletes and, they're so cool and they have, there's so much to offer and their bodies are perfect, but I never felt like I got to see deeper. And, I get so many DMs from young girls who are, going through these mental challenges. And I really feel that it is really great to have a community and for other girls to see that they're not alone. They're not the only ones feeling like they failed at something or they're struggling with something. And I think that when people are able to see that it is not just them struggling, but everyone is going through something, they're able to be like, oh, wow, like they're human too. Like we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. And I think that that's very important when creating a positive mindset community is just understanding that everyone's kind of going through something. Everyone's kind of going through their own challenges and we're all human. We're all going to fail sometimes, but it's how we're able to see the positive in that failure.
Yeah, I love that you just mentioned, like, your Instagram and TikTok. I'm gonna make sure to tag those because I really think people should follow you and should see that because just, like, recently, like, I was going through Instagram, I think maybe yesterday or 2 days ago, and you posted about this I think it's, like, the same time frame of you with your batting, and you posted the
Yes.
videos of you crying, and you kind
Yes.
of were able to share the new stuff, and I love that because it's like, "Oh, this person's documentary just premiered. This person is, like, starting their new job. This person just committed to play professionally. This person did this." And here's Janice, like, breaking up, like, this highlight reel of Instagram with a real story that is sad and might bring the vibe down, but ends with something really positive and makes me feel like, okay, like, I'm not just looking at all these highlight reels without hearing the whole story. And I think that's so important and kind of what you're saying too about the positive mindset of like, what could happen though? Like
Yes,
not focusing so much on what's wrong, but like what could happen.
exactly.
How is that for you during like that journey or like other struggles that you've had in sports where you've had to just, like hope for that light down the tunnel?
Oh my gosh. I love that you brought that video up because that video was an idea I got from a video I had made previously, which I had taken down, when I was at my old college because, we talk about positive mindsets, Sydney, and it's like if I did not create that mental positive mindset strength from high school, I don't think that I would be playing college softball now. I think that when I was with my previous coaching staff, they did not support my social media presence at all. And I can say that with, full certainty. One of the coaches said that she didn't think that she was going to like me because of how I posted on Instagram, which is crazy because everything I post is PG, it's positive, it's never negative, and, she had brought up a post that was similar, to the post that you talked about how I was crying, and it changed to something positive, and she was like, "I just think that that's very negative." And I said, "It's finishing on a positive note, it's showing how I struggled, it's showing, how I really went through this mental turmoil, but I was able to come out with a positive mindset and transform, become this amazing positive person." And the fact that she, wasn't able to see that was really hard for me. And which really, ultimately led for us to not agree on things and led for me to transfer. But I do think that if I didn't have that belief in myself, and belief that I'm able to see the good in situations, I probably wouldn't be playing, college softball now. So
Yeah, exactly. Like what you're saying, that's the positive aspect of that right now. I feel that very similar with like I've talked on here and on my Instagram about like my experience going to college sports and my journey to playing professionally. And I really do believe like if I hadn't gone through all of that, I wouldn't feel as grateful and excited as I do now every time I get to go play my sport. I wouldn't be able to handle like making those mistakes or maybe getting benched for a set or whatever because I wouldn't have had that mental fortitude and also just like the realization that it's gonna be okay. Like something else is going to happen. You're not stuck in this moment. And I love that you talked about your coach's like perception of your Instagram and just like your persona because I do feel like there's a lot of people out there who talk about like toxic positivity and who just kind of are like these people are fake and all of this different stuff or you're creating this like other environment. Like do you ever feel like part of this, like, toxic positivity, trap, or has that been something that people bring up to you about your posts?
100%. So I've actually had a girl, that I previously went to college with, and she was like, "I don't know how to read you, like, I feel like you're too positive, you're too happy." And I was just like, "I'm so sorry you don't feel like my happiness is real, but it is, it's genuine." And I really try to have people understand, like, if I could make your day somehow better in some way, shape, or form, that fulfills me, right? So I feel like being a happy person and really owning that positive mindset is really finding the good in every challenge and every opportunity, and I wanna give you that happiness as well. I wanna make you feel better. And regardless if you think that it's genuine or, not genuine or not, I can't control how you think or feel, but all I'm gonna do is try to make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people will take what you're saying about, like, the positivity and just the mindset and, like, creating this environment, and they're gonna want to apply it to their life, right? Whether it's to their friends or their boyfriend or their teammates or their parents, like, whoever, and there's gonna be a lot of people who accept it and love it, and there's gonna be some pushback. Like, have you ever gotten any pushback from any of the people in your life, especially maybe your team? And how do you navigate, like, how different people want to be approached and to be talked to?
Yeah, 100%. I've gotten so much, negativity from multiple people in my life. And again, they're just like feeling that it's not genuine. And like I say all the time, I'm human too. I cry, I break down, I have bad days. I get mad sometimes. Like I'm not happy all the time. And that's what I tell people. But of course, your online presence is very important. And every time when someone comes to my page, I want them to, like I said, feel better about themselves. And so, yeah, I tell people all the time, like, no, I'm human. Like, I make mistakes too. I get mad. Like, sometimes I feel really sad if I have a bad performance. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that just having people understanding a person who is really positive all the time is definitely hard. Because I feel like people would definitely take advantage of you because you're so positive, because you're so happy, because you want to help people all the time. But I feel like I've been able to have strength as well, and just being able to say no has been key for me as well. Just being able to be like, yes, I'm gonna be here to help you. Yes, I always got your back. But at the same time, like, I also have, my own standards, and I'm not gonna get walked over?
That is such a good point. Wow, yeah, like, I'm thinking about one of the teams that I was on, like, used to always have a award for, like, the best teammate kind of thing, and it would go to the person who's always the most bubbly, the person who's loudest on the bench, the person who's, like, always willing to give, like, a lending hand, and I just felt like looking at those people sometimes, like, who would win, it was always different people, like, you always just see, like, sometimes it's like, you wanna make sure that that person isn't feeling stepped on or that they're not appreciated. Right, and it's like, well, how do you make the person who's always giving, 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 and, like, never asking for something, like, feel valued and feel appreciated? And
Right,
I think what
right.
you just said is, like, if you are that person, in a way, it is also, on you a little bit, like, to recognize, like, how much you're able to give in a way, and also to recognize maybe when you are being taken advantage of. Do you have any advice on those signs or, like, I don't know, doing positive mindset the right way?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, at my previous school, me and the coach definitely did not see eye to eye on things. But when I told her mid-season that I was going to transfer, I did know that I was such a big impact in supporting my teammates. I was the loudest on the bench, regardless if I was playing or wasn't playing. I was always there supporting my teammates. Always, and so I knew that she needed me in any way, shape, or form, and that is one thing that she said, she said, like, "I need you on the dugout, and I need you cheering and supporting your teammates as loud as you can." And to me, I'm like, "That is all you see me as. You see me as a cheerleader." And that's something that's been really hard for me, especially being such a vocal athlete, is being seen as a cheerleader for your teammates instead of being seen as a player. I can play, I can I can do that too, but of course, I know I have a gift of being very loud and being very vocal. And if I have that gift and I can support my team in that way as well, of course I'm going to use it. But I feel like some people can just see you, as this bubbly, happy person, and it's like, no, like, I can be serious too, like, I have those parts of me as well, but another gift I have is just being very vocal. So I would say understanding that having a positive mindset is being yourself, being the person that you are, be that bubbly, happy person, but don't allow yourself to get walked over, right? Recognize if you're being used and abused, you know what I mean? Recognize if you're being, they're asking you to do something that they're not asking other teammates to do, or a friend is asking you multiple times to do something for them that, they have never asked another teammate to help them with, right? So it's like it's getting overused, and at some point it's like, okay, yes, this is me, this is the positive person that I am, but I'm not going to allow you to take advantage of me?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you also are kind of bringing up here, like, competitiveness and, like, don't I don't know, like, don't mistake my kindness and my support for lack of competitiveness or aggression when it comes to my sport, right? Like, you
Yeah.
can be that really supportive and kind and helpful teammate and still go out on the court. That's another thing. I think there's, like, this stereotype that the loudest person on the bench is not going in the game.
Yeah.
That you can't be the loud, supportive person on the bench and then run in to the game and to the competition and do a great job. Like,
Yes.
I think that's definitely something that comes up, like, even just I'm just even thinking, like, the positive mindset thing, like, at least in volleyball, like, we have timeouts or whatever, and it's like, "The bench isn't loud enough," or like, "This need that," and, like, your job as a person on this team, if you're not a starter, is just to be the positive supporter. And not to be pushing and being standing up for yourself and trying to, improve your own position on a team. Have you felt that way with, like, from positive mindset thing? Do you feel like those are the kinds of questions you might get sometimes from, like, the young girls that follow you and stuff
Yeah,
like
for
that?
sure. I think that a lot of it is just it's recognizing that each of us have different gifts. I think each of us have different, amazing abilities. Some girls are just more, they have to play a little more focused, more locked in, like they really can't talk to anybody. Some people are very vocal. Like me, I'm very vocal. I have to be talking to my teammates, have to be supporting them. Some people it's literally just like clapping. Like everything is different for every person. And I think that the one thing that really helps me stay so positive is really understanding the kind of person and the kind of player that I am. I think when you are able to identify the person that you are outside of sports and the person that you are in sports, I think that's really going to change the way that you see outlook on life. Like, yes, I see value in myself. As an athlete, but also I'm more than an athlete. What makes me me? And I think that that really helped me become the person that I am on and off the field is like, yes, I love softball. I think it's so much fun. I'm so competitive. Like, it is a part of my life, but it doesn't identify who I am as a human being.
I love that. And so we started this episode talking about your experience, like, in middle school and, like, the fear that you had playing softball throughout high school until you got recruited, and the negative mindset that you had at the time. What are you saying now as a college softball player, as a role model to so many girls? Like, what are you saying now when you're up to bat? What are the things going through your head, let's say, when you are having maybe, like, not a great showing that day?
Oh, for sure. I think that I was actually gonna make a video about this the other day, because it was like a trend. But I think that when I was younger, it was very much like, "Oh, I hope I don't strike out. Like, I hope I get on base. Like, I don't want my mom and dad to be mad." Like, I think that was a really big thing. It's just like, I hope I don't strike out. And now it's like, I can't wait to go up to bat. Like, you can't stop me. Like, it's gonna if you stop me, I'm gonna tip my hat off to you, but you're not gonna do it again. And if you stop me again, you're not gonna do it again after that, right? So, like, it's having that mentality of, like, I know my worth. I'm gonna, be coming for you every time, and I like to say this all the time, but, like, when you're in a game, obviously the other people want to succeed. So it's either you're gonna succeed or I'm gonna succeed. So one of us is gonna succeed, I'm really hoping it's me, you know what I mean? So, like, that's just kind of how I see the mindset is, like, before it was the fear of failure, it was the fear of the game, and, like, I have a little notebook, and before every game, I'll be writing in the notebook, and I'll say, like, "I own fear," like, "I own you." All these fears in my head that I've had since I was a little kid, I write them down and I just say, like, no, you're not stopping today. I write positive affirmations like, I can do this. I will do this. You can't stop me. Even if I fail, there is no failing for me. It's just one way that I didn't succeed. So, like, having that mindset shift for me has really, changed the way I feel like as a player. And I had a really good season this year. So I hope I think that that really translated.
That's proof that, like, these changes aren't just, like, random things that athletes are just saying out loud for Gatorade commercials. Like, these mindset shifts and, like, these posts and the things that we are, like, saying and that we're doing, like, really do come from, like, actual experience and mostly from lived experience, and I love that you're sharing that with people. I hope that the athletes that are listening to this take that with them, like, get that notebook, write those positive affirmations, like, have those positive conversations with your family or people who can talk to you about that growth mindset. I think those are all, like, really awesome things that people can do, like, right now to get started. Is there anything else, like, as we wrap up that you just wish that people knew or, like, advice that you would wanna give about kind of this whole topic around positive mindset?
Having the positive mindset is conquering the overthinking. I think that was a huge aspect for me. I think as a player, as an athlete, everyone is different. Everyone has their own gifts. So, one of my things was I feel like I've always had a good eye as a kid. And my coaches used to be mad at me. They're like, no, like swing at it, like if it's a strike. And I was like, no, but I don't like it. And so I was really happy that this year, at one point, I was ranked number one in the nation for most walks. And so, like, which is crazy, and I sent it to my coach, and he was like, "Okay, I guess you've always had a good eye." And I'm like, "See, like, that's just me trusting myself as a player." Like, that's just, like, out of the whole nation, at one point, I was number 1 in the nation. I think I finished off at, like, top 20 or something, top 30 or something. So, like, just to be able to translate that positive mindset and being able to be like, "I'm gonna trust myself. I know the player and the person that I am," and being able to see that outcome was really happy for me, so
That's amazing, and I think I just wanna add too, like, as we finish up the episode, I think every message that we share on the show is so important. I think it can be applicable to everyone. I really, really love that you have talked about your success in softball throughout this episode, just to show that the positive mindset and things that you do to help your mental health, it's not just for players who aren't performing well. It's not just for people who are on the bench. It's for everyone who is competing and, taking these things on or whatever. They're not just like, I don't know, it's not just like comfort to make you feel better about not succeeding. Like you can be a successful athlete and still have a positive mindset and still treat yourself well and still treat others well. And I love that you share that. And I love that you're sharing that with the next generation. And just thank you so much for coming on the show today.
thank you, Sydney, I really appreciate it. I love your show, and I can't wait for my audience to tune in.
Hey guys, it's Sydney. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk About It. If you did, make sure to leave a review and send it to your friend. Let's keep this conversation going. I'll see you guys next week.